This video is brought to you by America First Insight. Help support the growing conservative movement by becoming a member today. And if you want to support this channel, you can also use the code REAL when becoming a member. Thank you and enjoy the video. Well, we got some breaking news out of the state of New Jersey. As most of you probably know, there is a critical governor election happening in the great state next month. And for a couple weeks now, the Republican candidate Jack Ciattarelli has been surging across the board. And it seems like he has a serious chance to win. Now, I'm not saying it's a guarantee he does win, but the polling right now is showing a very tight race within the margin of error. It could go either way right now. Well, that might have just changed as a little while ago. Jack Ciattarelli got what could very well be his biggest endorsement of the entire election. As last night, it was reported across the board that the VOD were expected to endorse Jack Ciattarelli for governor of New Jersey. And for those that don't know what the VOD are, it's basically the Orthodox Jewish community leadership. It's basically the top people in that community, and they're all saying, or it's expected they're going to say, vote for Jack Ciattarelli. This is huge because this same group back in 2021, they endorsed Phil Murphy. So it's yet another group, organization, whatever you want to call it, flipping their endorsement from Phil Murphy in 2021 to Jack Ciattarelli in 2025. And we're not talking about a group that has like 10 people in it and they don't vote. No, there is a surprisingly large Jewish community in New Jersey. Actually, not really surprising. You get the point that it's right next to New York City, so it's not really that big of a surprise, but you get the point that it's like 6% of the population in the state of New Jersey, and do the math. This same organization, or whatever we call group, leadership, whatever, they supported Phil Murphy back in 2021. And back in 2021, Jack Ciattarelli lost by roughly 3% statewide. Now, I'm not saying he would have won with this endorsement, but these results would have been a lot closer. This would have been, probably a Phil Murphy victory, but by only 1 point. But now, in 2025, you're going to get an even weaker Democrat in Cheryl. Jack Ciattarelli has gained even more momentum. He has more support now, and he's now getting the endorsement of a very influential group in New Jersey politics. And even a lot of Democrats are realizing, oh crap, this is not good for Cheryl. Because these voters, they're going to vote. These voters, if the leadership says we're going to support Ciattarelli, like 95% of them, they're going to go out and vote for Ciattarelli. Not every single one of them, but basically all of them. That's why this is significant. We're talking about potentially tens of thousands of voters flipping from Phil Murphy to Ciattarelli, which really, that's a net swing of could possibly be a 100,000 vote swing when you factor in like 50,000, they voted for Murphy, but now they're voting for Ciattarelli. That could be the difference between Ciattarelli winning or Cheryl winning. And it illustrates this point even further. Look back at 2021. Look at Lakewood, New Jersey, which for those that don't know, a very Jewish area. It's like majority Jewish, I think. It could be plurality, I don't know for sure, but either way, it's one of those Jewish parts of the state, okay? And the Lakewood VOD, they endorsed Murphy, okay? They supported him back in 2021. And look at this raw vote swing. Look at this. Back in 2020, Trump got nearly 30,000 votes in Lakewood. Biden, he didn't even crack 7,000. He got 6,400 votes. In 2021, Ciattarelli crashed here. He went down 19,000 voters compared to Trump. Murphy, meanwhile, he went up by 800 raw votes. So, yeah, Ciattarelli still won the area, but it's clear that this endorsement, it holds weight. It's not like, oh, these people, they're not going to vote. They may not vote for Murphy. Like, they may say, screw it, I don't like Murphy. But they were never going to vote for Ciattarelli. But now, these same voters, they're going to vote for Ciattarelli now. This is a huge difference. We're not talking about a 5-vote swing. You're talking about tens of thousands of votes that could potentially shift towards Ciattarelli. This is huge. We're not talking about a small shift. That's why this endorsement is very important for Chitterelli. It's yet another group saying, screw you, we support the Republican in Chitterelli. There's been like a bunch of unions doing this. You had a bunch of local groups, a bunch of local Democrats. But I really think, raw vote-wise, this is the most influential and most important endorsement. Because, yeah, those unions, they could sway some votes. And, yeah, some of them have a ground game. But this is one of those groups where if you get their endorsement, they're going to vote. They're not going to sit back and do nothing. They're going to more than likely vote. And in a very close race like New Jersey probably will be, that is the difference. And you think I'm exaggerating, look at the new polling. This is a Republican pollster, I get that. But they have Cheryl only at 47%. And Jack Chitterelli, he's going up. He's down by only 3% right now, well within the margin of error. And Insider Advantage, they released a poll a couple days ago. They found Cheryl with a very tiny lead. Look at this. She's up by 1. She is up by 1% in New Jersey. And the worst part for her, it's not like she's at 51% and she's like, above, all that crap. She's at 45%. She is barely cracking 45% in October. At least Phil Murphy back in 2021. Yeah, he underran the polls a lot, but that's more so undecideds breaking against him. He was at like 51% for the entire cycle. Cheryl, meanwhile, she is going down. It seems like every single day a new poll drops and she goes down even further. She was barely cracking, not even cracking 50%. Now, she's down to 45%, 47%, that's it? And these undecideds, you think they're going to vote for Cheryl? And this doesn't even factor in these endorsements that just broke for Chitterelli. Do the math. This is looking awful for Dems. Chitterelli clearly has the momentum. He's clearly surging. He is already in a very good position. And now you get these massive endorsements that are shifting all these voters away from the Democrat Party to Republicans. And again, we don't know how big of an impact this is going to have because, yeah, a lot of these Orthodox Jewish voters, they're already voting Republican. I get that. But now there's maybe a large chunk of them that weren't. Obviously, you could see this back in 21. As clear as day, there are a bunch of them still voting Democrat. But now, it's a different story. Do I think Chitterelli's going to for sure win? No. But if I had to guess right now, he is surging to a point where this endorsement might get over the hump. I said it. This single endorsement could potentially give Chitterelli the governorship. Now, of course, they have not officially announced it, but it sounds like it's going to happen. So maybe they, at the last second, change their minds and say, no, we're not going to. But the fact they're not even backing Cheryl is still very damning for her. Because, you need these voters to vote for you. If you don't, you're going to lose. So they're not endorsing you at all, and they've been backing Democrats for years now. So we'll see what happens the next couple of weeks. We're getting very close to Election Day, but man, I have no clue what Democrats are doing. Who are they appealing to anymore? You're losing the Muslim voters. You're losing the Jewish voters. You're losing Hispanics, African Americans. Yeah, they're still voting Democrat, but it's instead of voting Democrat by 80 points, they're going down to 60. This is awful for them. And now you're getting these massive groups swinging this much against you because this one group is endorsing Chitterelli. It's going to get ugly. If this keeps up, again, I think it's a 50-50 race right now, but I would not be one bit surprised if Chitterelli mops the floor with her. Because Cheryl's not a strong candidate. Her campaign's been awful. All she has talked about is Orange Man bad, and that's it. Orange Man bad, Orange Man bad. At least Chitterelli's been running a campaign, talking about the issues. He's been able to get a lot of Democrats to support him. Which, again, is another thing we don't talk about. All these Democrats at the local level, they have influence. It's New Jersey politics. They do. And they're all backing Chittarelli. And they're all supporting him. They're getting their machines behind him. And now you get what could very well be the final nail in the coffin. Potentially tens of thousands of voters flipping from the Democrats to the Republicans. Yeah, that's a lot of voters. We're not talking about a small group of people. Again, a large chunk of these people, they were voting Republican already. I get that. But now you might reach like 95% with these voters. And that's a lot of votes in New Jersey. It's like New York City. There's a lot of them. You win their endorsement, you're going to swing the state a shit ton. You're going to swing like 4 or 5 points potentially. That's how big of an endorsement this really is. Now, anything can happen. People still got to get out and vote, all right? Get out and vote if you live in New Jersey, because this is a close race. I still think it's 50-50. Even with all these endorsements, we are still talking about a state that voted for Harris by 6 points. Though it was a pathetic showing, she still won New Jersey, all right? She still won the state by 6. Again, it was a big disappointment for her, but it's like, okay, it's still, she got 52%. You got to, if you're Chittarelli, you got to convince just enough Harris supporters to vote for you. And I think right now, we're getting to that point to say he probably has. He probably has done just enough to barely win. Again, it's going to be a close race. It's not going to be one of those things where he loses by 20 or wins by 20. It's going to be down the wire, within like probably a couple thousand votes. It's going to be that close. But who knows? Maybe it is a landslide for Chittarelli because all these groups, they're swinging so against the Democrats, and now the shutdown stuff hurting Dems even further. Even Democrats are admitting that, like, oh, the shutdown's actually killing us. Maybe it does translate to New Jersey. Maybe we do see a huge red wave in the state mopping Democrats up and down the ballot because of the shutdown, because we're losing all these groups, and New Jersey is becoming a more Republican state. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.